Hello everyone, this is Bentley from Kent, Washington, and today we're going to do an update on all of the Gary Lange rainbows that I have, either growing up or some of the adults that are in a couple of the tanks. This was the most requested video at a recent poll on the community tab. For those of you who don't pay attention to the community tab, that's your opportunity to influence these videos directly. It will let you know exactly what video I'm going to do, what ideas I have in my head or what I'm planning on shooting, and just let you guys choose which one comes first. So, let's not wait any longer. Let's go down to the fish room and check it out. Alright, so here we are down in the fish room. What we're going to do is start in the bottom right-hand tank, and then we'll loop all the way around to the top right-hand tank. That'll get us all of the young Gary Lange rainbows that are in the grow-out room. And then we'll move to a couple other tanks and the other tanks inside the house where we have various Gary Lange rainbows growing up and or the adults. So let's dive in. We're going to start here with the parva. This is Melanitania parva. You can see the smallest of the 5 fish in here is swimming. A little struggle to it. That started happening after the power outage. I've been really closely monitoring it. It has steadily gotten better. I don't see what seems like a bacterial issue, but I'll probably be medicating shortly. And I do apologize for the glare here, just because there's so much light coming from so many angles in this room. It's really hard to stop that glare. But if you pay attention to the largest male, who's on the left now, and just ran right in front of the camera and back, you can see the orange slowly coming in. Parvas are notorious for being very, very slow to color up as a rainbow fish. And then as we slide to the left here, we're going to go with what I consider the crown jewel of the young Gary Lange rainbows, with the Running River rainbow. There's a great story about how these were saved, but as you can see, the colony is doing great. There's tons of them. And if we zoom in just a sec, you will see on the largest male, he's going to be, I'm going to kind of follow him. He's dead center of the screen right there, coming toward us. You'll start to see the black stripes in the lower rear of the body coming in, and very faint amounts of red down in the fins. It's very hard to see with a camera. It's easier to see with the naked eye, but starting to color up. Running Rivers are doing great. I'm really looking forward to moving them to a larger tank, because as you guys may not know, when you put a rainbow fish into a larger tank, they tend to grow a little faster. It's kind of like stretching their legs. They just get a little more room, so they grow faster. In this tank, I just did water changes through here, and these guys get really, really shy after water changes. This is our Melanitania Goldii Decai, as you can see there on the label, and also some Herbert Axelrodi rainbows in here. The 2 Goldii Decai are up front, and then in the back are some Herbert Axelrodi. I lost quite a lot of these to fungus in the egg, so I really didn't have any, a large number to begin with. And then the Herbert Axelrodi really were kind of fragile as young, so I kind of only have, I would say, three or four of each. God, my camera lost focus really horribly here as I'm moving. I'm sorry about that. As we come up toward the top here, into the top row, these are the Chilatharina Eleni Wapogas, along with 3 mystery rainbows that I got from the aquarium co-op. They came in as eggs on a plant, hatched inside the store, and the store manager, Robert, asked me to take them and identify them when they got to the size to where I could identify them, which is probably, I would say, 3 or 4 months away from now. We'll kind of zoom in. These guys get really shy after water changes, much like the group below them. So you actually can see, if you look back toward the sponge, there's 2 fish hiding back there. The largest of the Eleni Wapogas is one of the ones hiding, the one that has the best color and looks the most amazing. Of course, that's the one that's going to hide on us. Then you can see right up front with that stripe, that's the other Eleni Wapoga. And then the 3 mystery rainbows, which so far, kind of hard to tell. They look like they might be a Chilatharina species of some form, but we'll find out over time. So we get something kind of cool, little surprise. It'll be fun. I'm pretty sure with the Eleni Wapogas, I have both a male and a female that I'll be able to breed, so that's really good news. I'm kind of trying to pin around here to see. You see the big one hiding back there, and you can see the stripe. That guy's actually got some yellow coming in, great blue in the body. Starting to get those really iconic Eleni Wapoga colors. And the sun is making murder of the glare on this. I'm so sorry for that. But they're doing very, very well. I unfortunately just lost so many of these guys to like fungusing eggs, and I found one that had jumped before I had fitted some lids to these. The Eleni Wapogas are big jumpers, so if you have them, make sure you've got a lid. But the good news is I will be able to breed these fish. We'll move forward. And I'll talk about that in a sec once I kind of pan through some other areas in the fish room. Now, beside this tank, these are not Gary Lange rainbows that we're about to look at in a second here. These actually came from someone else who got them from Gary Lange. So technically Gary Lange rainbows. These are the Chilatharina fasciatas from Cali Biru. As you can see, this group is not shy at all, pretty big. The nice thing about this fish, as it grows up, it has a very kind of blue body and then gets a kind of a yellow color in the fins. And then over time that turns to a bit of a red. These guys are really, really slow to color up. It's kind of hard to see here just because the green plants that are floating cause a lot of reflection of green color inside the tank. But there's kind of a pale blue color to most of their bodies. So that's starting to come in. You can see just a big group of them. Some of these are going to get split away to some of the other members inside my club, like Randy Reed. And then the rest of them I'm going to grow out for my own fun. But so far, these guys have been doing really good. They're kind of itching probably for a larger tank. And as I get a few things fixed and some of those acrylics coming up, these guys will get moved to a larger tank. Now, one thing I want to note, the catch points for rainbows are really important because you could have 10 different fasciatas and everyone will be different color based on where they were caught from. So you'll notice in a lot of these fish that have the same basic name, I have the catch location. That's really important. Now in this little tank, this is where the zebra autos are, and you'll notice one teeny tiny baby rainbow swimming around. Well, before I lost all those beautiful Cali rum rainbows and my green dragon placos to a heater failure, and no, it's not that heater. I had a different one. I put a different heater in. They apparently had spawned and one egg survived. Through all that mess, through all that heat, one egg survived and hatched, and this little guy has just powered through water changes, and I just noticed him, I think the day before or 2 days before I got the zebra autos. As you can see, they're in here, just kind of hiding out. Whenever I try to focus on them, man, they dash for the hills. They're still very skittish fish, but they're kind of a cleanup crew. My goal is to breed these guys, and I might split them up. And I'm sorry, as I zoom in here, it gets grainy, but I'm trying to really show you the pattern of this one guy who's out. Because the second that I move the phone to get closer to him, using my phone camera, he, as you can see, just runs for the hills. Just like, nope, I'm done. I don't want to be seen anymore. But I've talked to Dean, and it might be that we'll split this group up because I have either 2 or 3 males, and then either 4 or 5 females. There's one that's kind of either a large male or a very small female. Not quite sure yet, but the person I got them from taught me how to sex the autos very well. That's the same person who taught Dean how to sex them. And they're very, very cool. It was an opportunity. He's really a one tank guy. He only keeps one tank at a time, and he just kind of rotates through stuff that he thinks is really cool. This is what he had before and was moving away to some much rarer, very hard to find hill stream loach varieties. So I got an opportunity to have some zebra autos in my home. We'll kind of pull away. So this is the grow out rack, doing pretty good. Aside from that one little parva that's having some issues, everybody has come through the power outage phenomenally well. I've been very impressed with just how durable these young fish are. Beyond that, the big thing is just being able to get them to larger tanks here soon. Something like a 40 breeder, or realistically even a like a 29 gallon, something like that. And as I make some changes around the house, I'll have some bigger tanks in order to move some of these fish to give them a little more room. As we go around, you'll notice I have some lights out. And, oh yeah, this guy. So the Akara got moved out of the community tank. Let's get some light on him. He was being kind of a butt. Apparently and it might be a she. I'm not sure how to sex these. Tell me in the comments if you know how to sex blue Akaras. I'd love to know. I've never been much of a cichlid guy, so sexing them is kind of tough for me. But I'm just going to generically say he. Correct me when I'm wrong. Anyway, he apparently he's been so peaceful and apparently decided, like, I've been in this tank long enough and no one's the tank boss. I'm the tank boss now. And he beat on a couple of the rainbows. So aside from pulling up plants, which I don't really care if you pull up plants in my tanks, I can always replant them. When you start beating up on rainbows, you get to go to fish jail. And this is fish jail. And eventually I'll probably put like a Java fern on wood or two or something just to give him something in this tank. It was kind of a temporary measure when I noticed a a couple suspicious wounds showing up, and it's just like, yeah, it's time to move this guy just in case. Again, this is water change day, so the angelfish are hiding, and there's a giant jungle. The Shellies in here are in kind of a blackout period. I let them just live off ambient light. You know, they live at the bottom of the lake anyway, so they don't get a ton of light. And they seem to do really, really well without tons of direct light on them. And then finally, more Gary Lange rainbows. We have Bob Steenfott's Bosemannais from Lake Atinjo. You can see they're doing great. Just big, colorful boys. And the three females are kind of always busy. And then also in this tank, we have the Chilatharina fasciatas from Ungulum. Now, that's also a Cali ungulum, and Cali is a river or stream system, most common. That's where a lot of the Chilatharina tend to be. Those are the bluefish, if that's not obvious to you, if you're not that familiar with rainbows. But basically, these guys are, they're ready to breed. I just need to get some tens set up in order to take fry from mops and raise those fry, just because I have some space limitations currently. But as you can see, doing well. Not a single one of these fish had any issues through the power outage, other than generically, not being happy it was cold. But they've all gotten through it phenomenally well, doing healthy, active, eating well, everything I could hope for. So up in the top area, this is where I'm going to clear some of this stuff out, and these are where these tens are going to go. I'm thinking 3 or 4 tens on each rack. So what I'll do is above these guys here is probably where I will put the either the Aleni or the Bosemannai from Bob Steenfott. Those are probably my priorities as what to breed. So what I'll do is I'll get them in their own breeding tanks. I'll get mops in there as I collect eggs. Those are going to go up to the tens above. So it'll be like Aleni here, Bosemannai here. They don't need to be heated because this room is going to have a room heater here soon. And that'll keep this whole room at about 83, which means the upper heat is probably going to be like 85 temperature-wise in the room, which means the water will be somewhere like 81, 82, which is just perfect. Keep it nice and warm. All I'll have to do is have some light sponges and just run air to them. So outside of the fish room, we're going to look here at the Melanitania bowmani. Now that's the Ron Bowman's rainbow. These guys they have a really beautiful pale yellow color in their upper body with like these red pinstripes. They're getting that color in. It's really easy to see with the naked eye. Really hard to capture on camera. You can actually see all three of them just kind of in formation staring at me. These fish have been super interested in people. They're very social. They'll sit and stare. Very interested. You can see these tanks, same ones in the other room. I used to have 6 of these fish. I think I lost a couple to some jumps, and I know I lost one who had to have some kind of parasite. She just did not eat very well. Despite several treatments, she stayed super thin. You can see I'm zooming in. You can see that yellow now that we zoom in, although the picture's really grainy, so I'm going to zoom back out here in just a sec. But you can see that yellow coming in. It's really hard to capture on camera, at least with my equipment, the little red pinstripes. But all 3 of them have color. They're super active. They eat. They're inquisitive. Really love these fish. And this is another one that I want to breed just because they're not super common in the hobby. And I think if more people saw them in person, these would be a way more popular fish because that pale yellow with those red pinstripes is a really, really cool color combination. And they don't get too huge, which is the nice thing. A lot of rainbows will get that 4.5 to 5 inches. These guys tend to stay a little smaller, kind of like 3.5 inches or so. Finally, we've seen these guys a little bit here and there, but these are the Chilatharina blaheri. And if you look, there are 6 Melanitania bosemannai from Lake Uter in here as well. All Gary Lange line. The Uters came directly from Gary. The blaheri, their parents were direct from Gary. So if you look here, and you look very, very carefully, along the right-hand side, you're going to see a bosemannai kind of swim in and out of the frame. You just look for the bright yellow back half of the body. That's the early coloring of a bosemannai. That's one of the Uters. That's the biggest, most colorful one. Then the rest here are the Chilatharina blaheri. Again, these are the ones that Gary has called the party animal, and they really are. If you get to see the adults, they're so stellar. Just beautiful green tones up front. Kind of an orange, almost like hot fluorescent orange tail section. There's that bosemannai right on the right-hand side, just kind of creeping on through. And then when their males are showing their breeding display, they'll have like a pastel-y kind of peach color from their nose all the way to their dorsal fin. And they really let the reds start coming in their tail, and the greens shimmer and do all this cool, beautiful lighting kind of. The things that rainbow fish do best, where like their colors scintillate, and you see all these little interesting tones, where you see like almost Wanamensis emerald green, and you'll see little bits of orange and all this stuff. And just beautiful, beautiful fish. And these guys are growing up pretty well. Again, these guys are going to go as a colony into that 100-gallon acrylic. I have talked with Joel pretty recently. We're going ahead and getting a stand built for that thing. That's going to have a sump. All custom setup. It's just a matter of some timing. He's got to get a little time. I've got to get time. But hopefully the goal is by the end of February, we'll have that tank here. And then I'll do a full build for you guys. You'll get to see how I'm going to plant it and all of that. And then eventually, once that thing is cycled and ready to go, we will transfer these guys into that tank. So that's basically it. These are all of the Gary Lange rainbows that are shipped around my house. At least there are 2 more that are hidden, but we'll talk about those later. So my question to you guys is this: which one are you most excited to see as an adult, or which one would you want fish from? So if I was going to say I'm going to breed fish just for you, tell me down in the comments which one of these rainbows is the one rainbow you want. And I know my answer would be all of them. That's cheating. Don't do that. Tell me one. I want to know down in the comments which one is your favorite, which one you're most excited for. And if I was breeding them just for you, which one would you want fry from? So what we'll do here is we'll do a quick kaleidoscope of, kaleidoscope, I guess a slideshow is more accurate, of all of the adult forms of these rainbows, just so you can get an idea of what they look like. That might influence your comments a little bit. Well, there you go, guys. There's every one of the Gary Lange rainbows, as far as are in the the tank in my room, and then some of the grow-out tanks that we have from when Mr. Lange visited last June to the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society. Also, we got a little update on Bob Steenfott's Attenjo bosemani, and just kind of plans that I need to do where I need to get some tanks going so I can breed those fish properly. But that's basically it. Nothing too huge. I do have some new rainbows coming soon that will be going into a really cool 40 long tank that you guys chose as the tank to get set up. That happened actually in the comments of a video, but for most things in the future, that's all going to happen in the community tab. So if you haven't gone to the community tab, if you haven't checked it out, you should check that out. That's your opportunity to directly influence this channel. And just let me know what you guys want to see out of all the things that I have planned. And then that comes as quickly as possible to you guys. As always, thank you so much for watching, and stay awesome.